All right, what's up, guys? John Sintes, Alex Rojas. We combine for the Win a Game podcast. I also have the Cutter Nation Baseball podcast. He is up in NorCal. I am down in San Diego. We love to yin and yang on either side of this. It has been a while because both of us have been moving different ways and doing different things, and I'm very excited to carve out a little time to see you, buddy. It's been a minute. I know that we have both been kind of growing and doing things in different directions.
Mhm.
So, just tell me where you're at. What are you doing? Where are we going?
Uh, we are not to get too personal, but we've just moved to a place to kind of develop ourselves a little bit. But we're still doing the same thing, trying to do a lot more with trying to reach out to college guys a little bit more, go through my process of what I went through, trying to get back into some playing shape a little bit, see how that works
Hmm.
out. Um, the main thing is
Trying to
just
get in fighting shape.
The main thing is getting the spine ready again, because that's a thing that you don't think about. But like literally from your neck to your sacrum, like it all works, right? It's not just your elbow and your shoulder. Like the other day when I was hitting, like my neck is still sore from how hard I was turning. I just haven't turned that hard that consistently for that long. You know what I mean? So it's like
Yeah.
it's just a growing thing. But we're good. How about you?
Yeah, man. I'm excited about this time of year. It's been a little bit slow because we're in season, right? High school and little league have been moving and in middle of the season and stuff. We have a lot of guys that are just starting to make good conversations because of stuff that we put out about, I need to start preparing for summer. So I've already had some kids reaching out and trying to schedule some training and stuff a little bit after, their practice and stuff to get the extra work in that they need to get ready for the summer. The phone calls have been more long term. I like that the ideas of planning and some of these kids are putting what we've really been doing, especially with our college and high school kids that went off into their season, is we've been trying to get them to have a feedback loop from where they started at the beginning of the season to where they are now to what the goal at the end of the season, right? One of the issues that I see with college guys is that in the process of beginning to end, I just don't really hear that word championship put out so much about, especially in the levels, right? When you're in college, progressing through the process, getting your conference championship in so you can be the number one seed, move on to regionals and super regionals, and then get through, to the College World Series at whatever level that is, JUCO, D1, D2, D3. I don't hear that conversation from the college kids that are coming in. When I ask them what was the goal for the season, they can't even give me the real goal of the team sport that we play, right? So having them put that information ahead of time into the season and see if they accomplish their own goal, getting a call mid-season talking about summer training is, it's very telling, you know?
Yeah.
So and it's hard to have people stay locked in for as long as they can in season, you know?
I think that's the hard part about our business is the idea of like keeping the feedback loop healthy, even though we're separating. But then when you come back, it's like we do have to reestablish what we're talking about from a sport standpoint. Like, what are we doing in the game of the sport? You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
to go off the idea of what you're talking about. Just on a random hunch, I was watching Louisiana Tech, and I'm trying to look. I think it was Dallas Baptist last night on Wheels, and I was just too tired. I couldn't finish the game, but I'll finish it later. But it was a very exciting game, and I was just thinking about the idea of like what you're talking about. The idea is for us to go to the conference tournament, right, and then make the season longer. That's the ultimate goal. Is like make the season as long as you possibly can, right? Like without having to play those elimination games. You don't want to make it that long, right? You don't want to go 0-1 and then fight out of it every time, right? But I don't think if every kid thinks about it as that simple of a term like that. But what are we training for is the idea of how are you going to help your roster make the season as long as that team possibly can. that's like the feedback loop. You know what I mean? How are we going to do it? Why are we doing like you have a better understanding of your pitchers, but I could talk about it from a hitting standpoint. Um, like if a guy comes in and says, "Hey, I want to try to hit the ball over the fence more," right? And it's like, "Hey, dude, you led your team in stolen bases. Like we should work on decision making so you get more walks, so you get out less. Like try to be more Stephen Kwan. Don't try to go the other way around. You know what I mean? Like try to take advantage of what you're doing, right? And I'm sure you've got pitching aspects of that as well. You could draw the same type of storyline, but it is ultimately like, how are you going to make your season longer by making your team win more? That's what we're doing here. How can
I
you
love
make
that.
your company make more money, right? By you doing a better job with your clients. That's what our job is.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. The um, process of asking that question, even knowing to ask that question, is half the issue, right? Like, we live in a culture where from the beginning you show up in the line and wait for the guy to tell you what to do. So there's no independent thought process, there's no independent growth, there's no, self looping feedback to find out if they're even doing the right thing. Like, and you're hoping that this human that is wearing, the hat that's bigger than you has some kind of experience that is valuable enough for you to upgrade your game. Now, that low-hanging fruit is still extremely valuable of, the things that we work on inside of that. But that next
Mm-hmm.
level thing that extends the season is a conversation that you just don't hear of. And right now, we'll go back to college. I mean, as you and I know, the drama from the Texas A&M to Texas guy, that head coach, now he's number one guy in the country again. And it's just like, well,
Everywhere he goes, dude,
dude.
schlock.
So that just tells me the system that you're running works for anybody. Now, what is that system? I don't know. You
I
know,
got a small
because
piece of it that I'm trying to take advantage of. We'll talk about it offline, right? And kind of how I'm doing that, right? But like, I agree. The system is like, hey, this guy is shitting gold wherever he goes. He's eating all types of different food, and it's all coming out the same way, right? Like, let's look at this guy as a case study. Can
yeah, I
you think
mean,
of another coach? You know who else has done that? Bruce Bochy.
yeah.
Bruce
That's
Bochy.
actually where I was gonna go with it. I was thinking about all the managers, your Terry Franconas, your Bruce
Right.
Bochy's, your Dusty
Not
Bakers,
even
and then they
Terry, man.
show
I
up.
love Tito. Tito is good,
Yeah.
but Bruce Bochy, dude.
Well, I mean, they turn around organizations, but it's got to be the information that they know, right? Because it's obviously the system that they show up, and all of a sudden, it's not like the Giants weren't winning, right? But there was a lull and a different group of front office people where their things weren't, going on. All of a sudden, Dusty and Barry, next thing it is what it is.
uh, like the Pats, bro. The Pats, dude. Think about how all winning so many championships there. Think about how many coaches left and were able to win a championship somewhere else, right?
Right.
Like the leaves fell off the tree and they didn't die; they turned into trees. You know what I mean? It was like that's the ultimate idea. But then you have the idea of like Nick Saban, who you get Lane Kiffins, who like they try to dunk on you any chance they can because it's like, yeah, he got me to where I am, but like that dude sucks. That's their opinion of him. That's because it's hard working for those guys. I'm sure it is.
Yeah,
So
you
to
got to win.
to kind of this is a really good conversation. So I was on my Instagram. I'm going to talk about a little bit of game recall. Dude, one of my best attributes as a human is I have weird memory. Like I have very specific memory, and I'm not saying it's photographic or whatever, but my main thing is game recall helps me because that's how I was good as a catcher. Like I could remember, it's like no. This guy took your curveball really well. I'm not going to throw your curveball here. Like we're going to elevate more fastballs here. Like I was able to recall information better. One of the things that I remember from this season was my coach sat us down, and I think I've said this on the podcast before, but I've told other kids this. He got every kid into his office and told them specifically, if we want to make it to a regional, I need you to do this, right? And he's the only coach who ever did that. And still to this day, in my mind, best coach I played for in college. Because he had a plan to tell me, like, hey, I need you to do this. But he didn't tell me, like, this is how we're going to do it. He's like, I need you to focus on that. Because I have all these other guys that I need to focus on too, right? So he gave me the power of, like, that's your responsibility now. How are you going to take that responsibility I've given you and, like, do something with it? And I felt like, not pressured. I felt like challenged in like a cool way. I was like, ooh, okay, you need me to do this. And it was to have a good season, basically. Like as a hitter, like have a good season, right? And I actually did a lot better than what I believe he told me. But it was just the first time somebody told me for us to keep the season going as long as we can, like our theme here, you got to do this. And I'm sure he said that with other people. He said other things, but I still had never met a coach, and I haven't met any other players. And my experience is still my experience. But I'm sure there's somebody out there who played for a coach that was like, hey, for us to go to a regional, right? Or for us to go to the conference tournament, or for us to go to Omaha, or whatever, you need to contribute this. And then it's up to the player to kind of understand that and be like, okay, how am I going to do that over the course of probably the end of fall meetings? They give you that, right? Maybe like towards the end, like right before spring starts, you get that break to go home, right? You get like 6 weeks to kind of figure your stuff out of like, how am I going to accomplish these goals, right? So I've been thinking about that a lot lately of like, you, dude, especially these freshmen that are going into college, dude. Because now I can just get on. I don't know. Do you know what the transfer portal looks like? Like, what is it? An app? Is it a website? Can you enlighten me on this? Because I don't know what that looks like. I can't hear you. I can't hear you.
I'm pretty sure it's an application and a website.
Okay.
And because you have to confirm everything. I haven't gone down a rabbit hole, but I could ask. Let's ask ChatGTP what that
Because
is.
that's the
Um,
thing I was gonna go on. It's just you got to be so good as a freshman. Nails walking in. If you want to start as a freshman, physically, mentally, you got to be there. Because I can just call the phone and find a 22-year-old who wants to play for one season. Because that's all I need. I just need to keep winning this season to keep my job
mhm.
as a coach. I don't need to develop players anymore. I just got to keep winning. And if there's a way for me to find that, I'm gonna keep doing that.
Yeah, totally. I mean, I agree. I mean, that's the process, right? All right, so enter the NCAA transfer portal. You must notify your school's compliance officer, complete the NCAA transfer module, ensure that you have an NCAA ID, understand the transfer windows, which means it opens up 45 days immediately following the announcement of the NCAA tournament, and the main academic eligibility would be that as well. Important
So I could
considerations,
transfer
scholarship.
before the tournament and play against my team in the tournament.
No, the last day of the tournament. So as soon as the
Oh,
tournament is done, so basically College World Series is done on Sunday, Monday transfer portal. So
fuck.
we need to put that calendar down because now all the guys that we've been following, we're going to see, what happens because it's turning into a multi-leveled system inside of the NCAA. Because, you know, on one hand, do you go JUCO and spend 2 years developing, or do you go mid-major D1, pop off, jump in the portal? That's what I'm seeing more. I'm seeing a lot of BYU's, some Cal's,
June
some Texas.
24th, 2025, the transfer portal opens.
Yes, so put that on the calendar, June 24th, 2025. Let's get on that for
That's
sure.
wild.
Yeah.
So,
Oh, yeah. Hey, you keep sliding over. You get excited to your right. Try to stay centered in your frame.
sorry.
And maybe you can back up just a little bit too. I know we're having a blast. No, you
Uh,
got to go this.
oh, this
You got
way?
to, yeah, to your left. There you go. You nailed it.
Because that's my right.
Perfect.
That's my left.
Yeah, I saw the watch. I got you.
So, so again, going with that idea, like Conference USA, Dallas Baptist going to make a regional. They're 30-13. They're gonna make a regional. Okay, and then Western Kentucky, 34-10. Right? Like those are teams that are going to play a lot of baseball, right? If you aren't getting the call from LSU, but you want to play against LSU because you know the scouts are there. Dude, you got to find a team like this and email this coach. If that's your plan, like you want to play D1 baseball at a high level and get that experience, like I think that's the. I'm trying to see another team. Louisiana Tech's not bad. They're 26-17. Dallas Baptist 30-13 though, and 34-10 from Western Kentucky. Those are solid. But then like the conference records, I guess is like how you can get a better conference seating, right? But anyways, let's go with what you said, man. Go to a smaller conference where they know how to play baseball.
Yeah, I agree.
Where's where's Austin? Is it the Ohio Valley Conference? I'm a big Midwest guy. I love the Ohio Valley Conference. Is that what I'm thinking about? Where's Austin P? Am I thinking about the right one?
Austin PV's in Tennessee, I think.
Yeah, but what's their conference?
Oh, USA with
I don't think
Tulane.
so. I don't think so. Yeah, they are the
Well,
Ohio Valley Conference.
okay,
Yeah. Dude, what a wild conference. Is that still D1?
I think so. Yeah.
Man, didn't look like it. Kind of had some weird looking logos on there.
Yeah, that's Division II Gulf South Conference, I think is what it used to be called. It was definitely the conference of just like one of them. Do you know what a ready is? REDDIES. A ready.
A what?
Yep.
That's a
That was a
bird.
school we played. No, it was a spirit.
Like a ghost?
Yes, sir.
We're playing the Phantoms this week. Let's go.
We call them Caspers, but that gets weird.
So So you've got in the Ohio Valley Conference, Morehead State, Tennessee Martin, Little Rock, right? Like just tiny Southeast Missouri, right? I don't think that's Austin P. I don't see Austin P in it. But it's just stuff like that. Like, hey, maybe this is the route you go. Like you go to one of these schools, you hit 350 or whatever, you get 10 wins, right? And then you just go do what John just said. You wait till the 24th of June and you just say peace out.
Hmm. Oh, this is interesting. I did not know this. Oh, okay. So I asked ChatGPT. I said, if the Division I baseball tournament ended today, what um, what would be the breakdown? Okay. And so here's the breakdown, right? You've got number one Texas, Clemson, Arkansas, LSU, Tennessee, Florida State, North Carolina, Georgia Tech, top eight. That's what it is right now, the field of 64. That breaks down to 13 SEC teams, 10 ACC teams, six Big 12 teams, four Big 10 teams, three Sun Belt teams. So that's the one you want to go look at. There's your top
Southern Miss.
mid-major. Yep. Sun Belt, Big West, Conference USA, and Big East. They all get two.
Big
So if you
East.
so there's your four. There's your cheat code, guys. All right, so let's put it out there. All right. So if I'm a high school kid and I want to like work my way up, right? I might go JUCO for a year or two, and then because of that, by the way, nobody's saying this, but the reason why everybody wants to go JUCO because there's no rules, guys. It's 7 days a week, 10 hours a day, and you go to D1 and you got hourly requirements. Like, no, that's not what JUCO. That's the reason why it's JUCO Bandit is because it's 7 hours a day, 7 days a week, from the moment you get on campus until the last day of the year. And do you get
Okay.
Christmas off? Yes. Do you get a couple weeks off in school? They're recommended. They're recommended, guys. So, if you want to play the everyday process of that is what it turns into. And do kids get hurt that way? Yes, because you're driving your engine faster than you ever have. So how could you possibly not? So once you make it through that, which I have done, and you realize that you can do anything else, as soon as you go to a Division I program and you have so much more time than you used to have, it's almost weird. So what do? You end up doing the everyday thing on your own because that's the only thing you know how to do. And that's the thing that's going to get you there, right? So then we run over to Tulane, maybe a Southern Miss, take somebody from the SEC deep, or strike out a bunch of dudes, whichever one you want. Use that video, slap it on Twitter, go to the portal, go to Summer Ball, dominate there too, and then introduce yourself again as you try to win the MVP of Summer Ball.
Don't you know
And
the
I believe
president
that
of Texas State?
I do. I sure do. There's, I mean,
Standout
there's,
conference baseball.
yeah, you just
About
got to
those
be close
close
to.
games we see on wheels with them in Texas. Ooh.
Oh, dude, there's been Wheels has been great. I mean, that's my fastest way to download the process. Now
Anybody who
let's get in.
complains about
Okay,
wheels,
let's
just
go to LSU Tennessee game one. We got to do that. We gotta that.
well, hold on. Can I ask your opinion about what do you think about? I like Marcus Phillips. I think that's his name, Marcus Phillips, the day two guy. Big, like I don't know if he's half black, half Puerto Rican sort of deal, but he looks like he's got a little Latin in him.
Oh, you're talking about the Saturday guy.
He looks like a thicker Chase Burns, just
He, I
thick.
would, I would, I've been calling him Taiwan Walker. That's what he looks like to me.
Yeah,
He
that's a
looks
good
like
one.
he throws like Taiwan Walker. He's as big as Taiwan Walker. He don't drop his back leg like Taiwan Walker. Okay, so that's actually going to segue into this. So Harafe called me. He did a TrackMan breakdown. Yeah, Harafa. He just called me and texted me, and I have been yelling at him about his back leg for a while because we have video evidence of him in live where I told him to stand as tall as he possibly could so the drop of gravity would help him go down, right? And so they showed it to him and gave a angle degree and showed that his flexion before when he was 97 was 9 degrees, and then now his flexion is like 37 degrees. So massive increase in that, but that was from his previous organization on what their recommended his recommendations were to stay longer in the hinge. And this is where physics and baseball mechanics aren't lining up to me, where we've all seen the ball go down the ramp, right? And you got three lines. You got the straight line, you got a little bit of a bend, and then you've got almost like a 90 degree. And nothing moves faster down than gravity. I believe it's 2.81 meters per second is what it is, or feet per second. I'm pretty feet per second. Yeah, I'd have to look it up, but there's a number of gravity that is an actual physics number for the drop. And so you cannot turn your muscles on and use gravity when you're dropping. It's just not possible, especially when you're standing. So learning how to free fall, catch yourself, and drive is one of the moves that is very common all across the big leagues. But with him particularly, and the reason why you would want a taller guy to do this is because the more mass that you can have from a higher position to drop, the more potential energy you would create into the ground. And that's what force plate stuff is showing, where when you can create energy and literally become heavier with gravity, then you can use that to drive off and then spiral out of it, aka go to throw the baseball. So the interesting part would be, you know, I don't think that there's a particular number that is perfect for everybody, but the principle of trying to create as much weight from the highest possible position to create the launch would be the most effective way to move down the mound. So back to what we were saying, when we watch the LSU Tennessee game, one of the very cool things about that is you have two different styles of lefties, both kids going in the first round, both kids knowing throwing 97, but you have a full giant drop and drive lefty with a high spin rate, 97, 98, big banger, good changeup, good two seam, good little slider against a little bit more preset hingy LSU guy, also throwing 97, but taller, longer. But I don't think that they differ in the position on the mound to where they release the baseball. So that's the interesting part. They're both getting to this maximum extension number that seems like, based on what I'm seeing, the hitters reacting to the pitches, that their hand and release point is so much closer than the other guys. So my favorite part about that game was, like, I think there's like 24 strikeouts between the two guys in the first like 7 innings. Like, it's just they either walked a dude, it was like a thumber hit, or punchies. Like
Yeah,
nothing else was there. That's all it was. It's just a bunch of punchies on both guys.
that was one of the more impressive pitcher duels that turned into what it turned into in the end. It was just ultimately like, hey, get this guy out of the game. We can't hit this guy. Like, get this guy out of the game, pretty much. That's what it turned into, which was such a compliment to the Tennessee guy. But I mean, did LSU end up winning Game 3?
Uh,
I
I
think
did not see
Tennessee
the last
won.
one.
No, I think
Yeah, I think they
LSU
did
won
too.
like 8 to something. I
Did
think
they?
LSU put it on them. Let me look
Mm.
up that. Let me look up that series real quick.
Dude, ChatGPT is amazing. I just love searching it now because it's so much faster.
Did you find
And
it
like,
already?
yeah, dude, I already got all the info. I asked it. Here's what
What?
I asked it. Oh, well, I didn't ask it. What was the series? I was asking another question.
Yeah, Tigers won 12-2. Yeah, so the
Mm.
Tigers won the series.
Oh, nice. Yeah, that's even more drama, right? Because we're going into conference tournament. That's what we need to do.
Well, we're still about what, a week away from the conference tournament? Maybe 10 days, 2 weeks.
Yeah, I'm not even 100% sure when it is, but I feel like it's coming up. I mean, I know it's
Because
right
usually they
around
get
here.
about 30 conference games. Everyone's at about 21, 22 right now. So we're
Yeah, for
close.
sure.
Because I think Tennessee was like 22-8 in conference last year. Like it was
Mm.
something nutty, which is nuts to go 22-8 in the SEC is bonkers.
Yeah,
And
for
like
sure.
so to go with your Sun Belt conference, the top three teams that are definitely going to a regional: Coastal, Southern
Oh, yeah.
Miss, Troy. Like
Oof,
very good baseball programs,
for
right? And
sure.
then underneath that, Louisiana, good program. Arkansas State, Texas State, Georgia State, Old Dominion, where Justin Verlander went to school, like Louisiana Monroe, South Alabama.
Oh,
Didn't you go to South
look,
Alabama?
we have, I almost said that. We have a guy at Louisiana Monroe. The Saturday guy is a guy that's from San Diego and trains with us.
So like Marshall's in that. That's a big school, man.
That is a,
Like
Monroe's a
James
great school to
Madison,
go to.
brand new D1. James Madison, they figure that shit out because that's a rich school. They
Hmm.
just have they're still D2 figuring out their D1 stuff, right? They'll figure it
Mm.
out. That's Virginia money, man. They got deep money, right?
Dude.
Goes back to 1770. But I really liked what you were talking about, but the the thing I want to talk about at the end of that game, right? This is something that you and I definitely are more in contact with the umpire than anybody in baseball. The pitcher and the catcher. You communicate to him, I communicate to him, right?
Hmm.
Everybody in that stadium knew when that ball was hit, it wasn't staying in the yard. Not a
Yeah.
single person, right? And if you did,
Yes.
you're on drugs. Okay? You don't know baseball. So for that umpire to do what he did was just the most like it felt selfish to me. It felt it felt like that guy was upset that he was doing what he was doing to the pitcher, like he was sticking up for the pitcher. When we've all seen it many times, if he punches Jared Joad in that position, he's gonna pimp it off the mound,
Hmm.
right? And
Hmm.
nobody's telling
Right.
that guy to get his ass back in the dugout.
Right. That's a
So
good
it's
point.
just the idea of like it is the umpire, and I'm not battling for a case for him because I think everyone in the baseball world is like, hey. And then Jared Jones the next day was like, "What did you tell the umpire?" He goes, "I told him the game is over. Where do I have to go?" And I was like, "Oh, dude, that's so dope." Because it's true. Like, why are you telling him where to
Yes.
go? It's like the game's over. We're done. You can go home.
Yeah.
I know it's 3:30 in the morning. We had a lightning delay and rain delay and all that. You can
Yeah.
actually like go home, right? Just like you want me to go around faster, so it takes you an extra less 30 seconds, right?
Yeah.
Like, fuck off, dude. Like, let me enjoy this moment. So, do you think he was
I love
acting
it.
from like he was upset, or like what do you
No.
think about that?
Well, okay, a couple things. Number one, I like what he said after, because he said two things, right? The last thing he said after the umpire said something again, like he barks over his shoulder when they change it. He goes, I'm going, I'm going. Like, I
Yeah,
just love that. I
yeah.
loved that part too. You know what I mean? Like, I think that the umpires are so scared of losing gigs because the NCAA rotates those guys and they want to be in those big money games that if they
That's a
don't
huge
do everything
series,
that
dude.
Yeah, dude, he's just doing the same thing the NCAA's warned everybody, and the SEC's been warning. That's why they changed all the fun, right? There's no more pimp coats and hats and the hammers and the celebration, like all the things that went viral. They don't want any of those things. So you see that they're moving around it, just like you're saying that the celebration of the girl that hit the homer for North Carolina, and she went full trampoline mode and then just got launched straight up horizontally into
I
the
didn't
air.
see
You
that.
know what I mean? Like, oh, you didn't see that?
I
Yeah, this
gotta
girl
look
like
that up.
hit
I gotta
home
see that.
plate. She hit home plate like she was it was like a vault, right? She hit and then went out straight armed like this and then kept her arm straight and the girls caught her immediately and then like trampolined her straight up in the air. And they were like, "Oh." And I mean, she probably went though. She probably went a good 15 feet in the air. But held it and then came down like, "Woo."
I
But you know,
love it.
those you know, it's just human nature to celebrate
Yeah.
and be emotional. And it sucks that the NCAA thinks that the game is still golf and there's some kind of gentleman's version of it. When if you watch the NCAA basketball tournament, like that is about as disrespectful as you can be to the other team most of the time. And no one's upset about it, you know? And the same thing with football, you know, like
Oh,
somebody steps on somebody else's hand or foot or ankle and it's just like a slap on the wrist. It's not like, and meanwhile, words over here in baseball and people are losing their mind. Like, come on, man. Like, that's just not how the game, like physical
oh.
altercations. And then we got
Dude, I
words. Like,
remember like in a conference tournament flipping the ball back to home plate after we struck out the side and like giving a good little like turn over there, like, how about that, buddy? Like that, and the whole team like chirping, hey, what was that? I'm like, dude, you're the number one seed in the conference tournament.
yeah,
Chill. Like
yeah.
you're gonna win the game because they did, but like you got a dude throwing 90 something, like from here, like here, dude. And you're worried about me flipping the ball back? Like chill. Like let's chill out.
Well, I mean, there's nothing better than competition and creating engagement, though, as an athlete. You know, that's the thing that's frowned upon in the baseball sport. And like in
I
football and basketball,
breed
there's always,
competition at our facility.
yeah.
Like get on
Like,
each
I,
other to a certain
well,
extent, right? To a certain, hey, moms, girlfriends,
right.
sisters are out of this,
Yeah,
right? Like you know,
keep it on the game only. Keep it on the
yes, like
game
let's
only,
focus
you know?
here, right? But dude,
Yeah.
listening to we've got a couple of 12-year-olds that have got mature enough to train with the high school guys, right? And they will so we have a couple of different classes. Like we'll have a high school class and we've got a junior varsity class. That's what we call like the 13 to 15-year-old group, right? Kids building up middle school, like early high school freshmen. Then you got your varsity class. But we get these mingled sometimes. You got brothers, right, that are like in the closer ages. You see the younger ones, they play with the older ones and they watch the older ones. Like, dude hits a double, like 88. What you want? Like, they're just getting after him. When you see a 12-year-old do it to another 12-year-old, it is electric. When you see a 12-year-old hit a double and then look at his friend and be like, wow, dude, like, that's so much more fun than this kid who's trying to be Roy McIlroy, right? It's like, no, dude, like, how many people are at Clemson watching the Savannah Bananas?
Oh,
How many?
yeah. 81,000.
And we're talking about, let's, dude, he's doing a backflip and catching a pop fly like in foul territory. Dude, come on. Like,
Did you see? I like how they did the short side of the field. Did you happen to see that?
no, I did not.
They put like a 30-foot net up just to like still make it sure, right? And so guys were still hitting líneas and they would hit the net in like the first couple innings. And then you just see them actually trying. And everybody's like trying to dump and lift. And then the pitchers are trying to figure out how to not. And then it's just like these like 225
Uh,
foot flare jobs and they're pimping
so,
them and like you can see the pitchers are getting pissed about it and then like you know the score I don't remember the score was like 16 to 19 or some shit like that or whatever
right.
you know they broke the records and but also the same thing like you know oh, man like I love the haters on it too because I think it's breeding such a better brand of baseball to push in the right way Like there's a video. I'm glad you brought that up because I meant to send it to you. But there was a guy. I believe it's our favorite "Baseball Doesn't Exist" guy. It's either him or one of those guys like that that's on YouTube. But he did a Savannah Banana breakdown on. There's so many people that still hate the version of it, but it's so much better for the game because the scoring format changes, keeps everything so much closer. you know? And just like the fact that you can create the intense situation on a
Mhm.
time limit like that almost makes it better. Because I mean, like, even at the younger kids, like, I was already thinking about it. If the younger kids ran a different version of the game like that, like, it would, because the games would never get out of hand, ever, which
Dude,
is good. That's
banana
what you
ball needs
want.
to be Little League baseball. Like,
Yeah.
stop playing normal baseball. You know what the number one complaint is that I hear from like little league presidents and commissioners?
What's that?
When, of course, like it goes up, right? You're going to have less 13 to 15-year-olds up here, right? You're just going to have less. It is, right? It is that. Because like down here, that's your T-ball. How many people just want to dress up their 4 to 7-year-old in a cute little outfit so they can go down there with their girlfriends with their white claws? And I love you, ladies, right? You're you're good people. But I'm just saying we don't need four different like, dude, I love Granada Little League, but we have 3 to 4 different types of like baseball where I'm just like, you guys shouldn't be playing innings. There shouldn't even be like you guys should be playing blitzball. That's what you should be playing. Like I'm cool with
Yeah.
everything else, but play blitzball. Like what are we doing? Because it's like it just seems so like puppy training. But that's why baseball gets a bad name because it's so slow. Because you
Right.
have like kids have done this for 3 years straight, right? So it's like their rendition of baseball is I swing once, I run to first, and then I win, right? Versus like, hey, we could win 3 innings and the game's over because we play six. Or like we play 5 innings. You could lessen it. You can make it like a knockout rule. First to 3 wins, game's over in 30 minutes. Let's go home. I love that, right? Because like I could go on forever about that, but to your point, but if Little League Baseball wanted to not lose to travel ball, honestly, they would make their rule set loosely banana ball related. Because
Yeah.
there's so many kids that I have heard from their parents that the main reason why it's hard for them, they have a hyperactive mind. I get it. You got RPMs going on. You're playing Fortnite a lot. I get it. But you can't make kids play the same game that an 18-year-old plays. They're not the same creature. They're not. Because, like, dude, even I get bored sometimes watching a high school baseball game because I'm like, dude, these guys got to clean it up. Like, this inning has been going on for way too long. You know what I mean? So that's the hill I will die on as of now is like, until you get to high school baseball, just like, the knockout rules should exist, more 10-run rules. Like, why are we having a 2-hour time limit on a 9-year-old baseball game? Let's get out of here,
Yeah.
right? Like, we don't need this much. I'm sorry. So that's where I'm going to end my spiel today because I got to get going. I got to get moving a little bit.
I feel you. I feel you. Well, thanks, dude. I appreciate your time. We'll chop
This
this
was
all up.
great. We're back.